Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you might be. I am Nicole BC, and you know everything. Oh my God. Hi. Welcome back. Welcome here. Welcome to your day today. It is still very much summer here in the Northern Hemisphere. So this is the short and sweet summer series. It's been crazy out there, y'all. And I've been working really hard. I did a bunch of traveling. It was amazing. And I still, kept it going. So I got to have lots of conversations, and this summer series is very much inspired by the conversations that I get to have almost every day with people from all around the world in terms of entrepreneurship, creativity, leadership, and really, kind of sometimes feels like just trying to keep your head above water. So I am informed not just by my clients, but by my community and my compatriots and my confidants. So the people I'm even looking to for support and for mentorship and for leadership. And one thing that seems to be happening a lot is this second guessing of everything. And obviously, there is an obscene amount of uncertainty in our world right now. And I think it is also healthy and helpful to have a filter, to not just take everything at face value, to wonder, is this truly the best thing for me in this moment, knowing what I know now? And there's another episode that I recorded called D-Day, aka Decision Day. One of the things about impactful decisions is making that decision in a moment of time that will actually allow for the choices of action to take effect, to matter. And sometimes, and I'm sure you've experienced this, we can spend so long wondering, should I quit the job? Should I end the relationship? Should I make the investment? That by the time we actually make the decision, it doesn't really matter anymore. So D-Day is all about how to make impactful decisions. This episode is really designed to help those of us who feel like it is impossible to make a decision. We are constantly disappointed. We are often wondering, did we do the right thing? Was this the best thing? So much so that it's almost inevitable. We feel like we're going to regret or wonder if we chose the right thing. And we'll talk a lot about why we do that, but also recognize the stories that we have around that. And the reality is we've all come from someplace and we've all learned a lot, right? And chances are we've made mistakes. We've been traumatized by those mistakes, either by ourselves or the people around us, or even the choices that we made. And we're bringing all of that into every single decision-making process, and it's a lot. So I hope to demonstrate to you a few different ways that you individually are going to be able to apply a very, very basic framework, not my framework, your framework, that enables you to make a decision confidently enough that it can be impactful, so that you don't waste your energy or invest your energy or even just simply distract yourself from the moment that you're having, from the ability to be present and actually experience the result of past choices, so that you can iterate and improve, right? We're always on that path of development here, at least, but you do know everything. And I guess with that, I'm just going to assume you're listening and you're still here because you want to stop second guessing everything, and you want to maybe make faster decisions. Maybe you think about it like better decisions, but ultimately you're seeking confidence. You see people who make really fast, really impactful decisions. I like to joke about strong and wrong. And it looks like an interesting way of engaging the world. So one of the reasons I bring this up is I made a lot of decisions on my last few weeks of travel. I think I was on the road in total for 5 or 6 weeks. And it became a running joke that I would give somebody directions to a place I'd never been. I would order something on a menu that I had never had before, and it would have meat in it because that menu was in a foreign language. I would tell someone what time it was or what the weather was going to be, or make outfit decisions. And, I had no idea what I was talking about, but I have made that many mistakes, and And all of the things that I just related to you, to me, are not that important, right? Like I have no problems making fast, unimpactful decisions. I also have some problems with making fast and impactful decisions. But what I've discovered is that for me, my filter is a decision gives me information, and then I can immediately apply that situation to my situation. But the sooner that I make a decision, and the better that I get at making decisions, I can very easily course correct. I can't course correct until I decide. So if I give somebody wrong directions and we start heading in a certain way, my friend who has an innate, uncanny ability to know where we're going would immediately be like, we're going in the wrong direction. Cool. Now we know we're going in the right direction. Like that works for me. People making wrong turns tends to drive them crazy. And this is why it completely matters where you're at, what you're trying to do, how you are hardwired, and what you need to know in order to make decisions and stop waffling about it and stop second guessing yourself. So yeah, we're going to explore this in detail. So I am not suggesting that my process is the process by any means. Most people want a slightly more consistent way of understanding what's going to be best for them in any given moment. And a lot of people are just using gut instinct. Here's something that I want to point out about gut. Firstly, like we call it that because it is almost always coming from our physical body. And also where our gut instinct can come from is also it's not too far from our survival instinct, our fight or flight triggers. And so it's useful to start understanding, am I making this gut instinct out of fear? Am I trying to avoid something? Am I using a past story to inform this present moment? Or am I actually tuning into a much stronger frequency and wavelength here? And I'm on some level seeing a picture that I'm not entirely aware of or conscious of, and I'm going with that. You need to really tune into how that feels for yourself. I'm not even going to get into how it feels for me, but what I will tell you is how I started to discern between those two. When it's fear, it feels like I'm like sick in my stomach, right? Like I'm queasy, I'm nervous. I kind of want to I almost feel like I want to, if you could see me on camera right now, like my shoulders are clenching together, my knees are coming together, I'm like squatting and like crunching up, right? I even like made fists with my hands. That feels like fear to me. But when I'm going on gut, like it's fun. I kind of don't give a shit because when it's a true gut instinct, I know I can't fuck it up. And I know that because I've operated on gut instinct enough times, it never feels like a mistake, even when there are mistakes experienced. I am able to see a bigger picture. I am able to see and feel into an end destination I know I'm just not at yet. And I've made some monumental mistakes. I've talked about them a lot on other podcasts. I don't want to do that right now. Gut instinct. But what I want to help you understand is there is a distinct difference between gut coming from fear and gut coming from this feels like the highest and best opportunity for me, even if I can't explain that to somebody else. That feels to me like my shoulders, it's like I'm drawing my shoulder blades back. My chest opens up. I feel lighter and breathy, like I can take a deeper breath of air. It feels like butterflies in my stomach. Like I'm genuinely excited about something. My eyes get bigger. I start smiling. Like these are all very instantaneous reactions to that gut that's like, hell yeah, let's fucking round and find out, as opposed to like, hell no, that is scaring me and it makes me feel like I want to run away, right? So starting with that, and I'm going to take one step further into this, like this fear instinct, right? The reason that I don't ever like to make those sweeping statements like the reason why we do this, that, and the other thing forever and always, and this applies to everybody. That's not what I'm suggesting at all. But in my experience, what I've witnessed, and like I said, I've gotten to talk to thousands of people at this point about different decisions, is that there were a lot of us that had a childhood where if we spoke out, if we spoke up, if we said crazy childhood, kid things, we got in trouble. Now, that degree of trouble informed us that no matter what you do, you don't want to make mistakes. You don't want to speak up. You don't want to speak out. And you sure as shit don't want to say crazy ass things because it will hurt. And that will absolutely inform your gut 100%. And in these moments of waffling, just simply recognize if this is resonating with you, if you feel like I'm talking to you right now, there's something there. And giving yourself, it's funny, I joke around with some of my people about how do we overcome some of these things in real time. Pick like really safe, inane experiences to test this. Like when I don't know if you get coffees at coffee shops or like you get gas at like, if you're paying cash for gas right now to like save some money, like pick the wrong amount of cash that you know is going to be too much or too little so that you can like fuck it up and then go back in and like just play with very purposefully knowing like this is wrong and I'm doing it anyway. Order the wrong fucking cappuccino or the beverage or the size, when the barista says, do you want like milk with that? No! Like, do weird stuff out of place that is a mistake on purpose and just see what happens. When you start showing yourself it's safe, I'm cool, I got my back. I think I've talked about this a lot recently, but it's proving to yourself it's okay in this scenario to ... This is when I talk about like making it an experiment, making it playful. But look, we all have trauma. We all have wounds. And at some point, you get to recognize that and create that safety and security for yourself. And waffling on decisions is a likely indicator that at some point you learned decisions are dangerous. So I just want to give you permission to heal that wound because it's actually not like that for everybody. And those people that you witness as being able to make decisions or potentially being like really cavalier and very risky and stupid and arrogant, they're not experiencing the same thing. So it's just an invitation to recognize making decisions can actually be a very quick process. It doesn't need to take as much energy as it might be for you. There's also the situations where it's taking up, like certain situations might inspire you to take a lot longer to make decisions. That might work for you. That might not. So it's just, again, I'm all about choice and agency here. And as soon as you recognize your why behind your actions, you always have a choice. And sometimes you might be looking for a lot more traction or growth or progress in a certain area. And that is where you are delaying making decisions. And perhaps that is coming from an old wound you are ready to heal. And this is how we do it. We just talk about it. We just call it out for what it is. Like, oh, I really drag my feet in this space. Interesting. I wonder why. I wonder where I learned it's safer to go slow here. And I wonder how I could speed things up just a little bit so that I could get what I want, right? So, another thing that can often happen with us when we really waffle about making decisions is, and this one applies to yours truly, I think I'm in control of everything. And so if I make a decision that then leads to a negative outcome, it is all my fault. And I am wholly responsible for that. And I wish I were that powerful, my friend. I really do. I wish you were as well. We would live in a perfect world where I was always right and I controlled everything. But unfortunately, or fortunately, there are immeasurable variables that are involved in any given moment. And if there were one thing we could blame, gee whiz, would that make life simple? And again, all we would have to do is learn this one lesson and we'd be good to go. In my experience, that's just like not how it works, right? There are a million different things like the weather or how I made my coffee this morning or how much sleep I got last night, which had a lot to do with how I made my coffee yesterday morning. And if I worked out and what I ate and blah, 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 right? Like there might be an assumption going on in the background that I have the ability to control all of these different outcomes and variables. And I need to figure all of that out before I can make this decision. And I'm here to let you off the hook, my friend. And in fact, making a decision might just give you enough information to give you a little bit more input on some of those variables. But the not making of the decision disallows you from making any progress in that space either. So ultimately, making any decision, even a knowingly bad decision, is going to give you more information. And that might just give you the opportunity to make the best decision for the best way forward. So one thing I get to hear a lot from people is I'm not ready. And I actually hear that as code for I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, I don't perceive my own value, or I don't feel valued and validated by others. There's a lot that comes with the I'm not ready. And that could be very true. You could need to study more. You could need more experience. You could need more social proof. You could need a better website or a better logo or a stronger email campaign. Like you could need to get fancier clothes or lose some, right? Or you could just get started right now. In the creative industries, music specifically where I came from, I can distinctly remember being a young whippersnapper with I was 100% not fucking ready. And goddamn, thankfully I was oblivious to all of these things, and strong and wrong was still very much a strategy for me. But I definitely 1000% not ready. But that not readiness was actually like a very unique qualifier for me. And because I didn't know what I didn't know, I inserted myself into places and talked to people I didn't quote unquote deserve to. And you know what? They thought it was hilarious. Or they thought, why not? We'll give this person a chance because they're here. They'd already overcome all of this stuff. They trust their gut instinct. They know when somebody's got some kind of an X factor they don't understand, but let's give it a go. And most importantly, they were prepared to make a mistake. If I wasn't the right bet, there was another 100 young, dumb, and full of people behind me that could very easily replace me. Because it's like, some of these decisions, we perceive them as being incredibly impactful or of high value, but the reality is they're one of, how many decisions do we make in a day? It's like tens of thousands of decisions every day that we're not really even aware of when we're doing it. So like maybe this is actually just one of those. Okay, so I promised to arm you with some kind of a way to make decisions moving forward. And I'm just going to drop this in there. Some of us have a little less, you'll know if you know, definition in the way that our mind and perception works. It's not fixed. Every single time it's going to be a little bit different. And that's really cool, I think. You are able to really in that moment then tune into what's a potential here. So I love to start with what the fuck do I want? Because when I ask that question, there's always an answer shows up. Sometimes that answer might be motivated by things that aren't necessarily, the big picture, right? It's a short-term answer. It feels like the only thing that's accessible in this moment, blah, 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 blah. Point being, we can second guess. What do I want right now? The answer to that, like yesterday morning, I wanted a fucking croissant on the way home from my workout. But why did I go to that workout? Because I ate a croissant every day for 4 weeks while I was in Europe, and mama needs to work out. So did I really want a croissant? Well, yeah. But did I really, really, really want a croissant after I had just worked out? Because it takes an entire hour of working out to earn a croissant. No. And what I wanted to prove to myself was I know what I want really, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get it. So we got there. Figure out what you want. And when it comes to making a decision, and this is something I've been playing with and can speak to directly in this moment, I was able to think about myself in 3 or 6 months and ask her what she wanted. And what she wants is not safe for work. So I'm not going to say it on this podcast, but I think you know what I'm talking about. And a croissant ain't going to get me there. Working out will, 100%. So ask yourself what you want most in this moment. And if it feels murky, cloudy, not like the real answer, give yourself a few minutes to sit and imagine you in 6 months who already did the thing, who already made this decision, who's doing fucking awesome, and ask them, what did I do in this moment? What did I really want in this moment? What was available to me? That's going to be a great place to start this decision-making process. From there, you might have a few options And I'm going to challenge, if you don't perceive you have a few options, you're probably in some sort of one or two energy, as I like to describe it, some sort of fear or force energy, and either or. And we just simply remind ourselves there's always a multiple choice. So I'm just going to make up a third option here and see where that gets me. So now we've potentially limited it from a million things to 3, or we've pushed ourselves to come up with a third. If you've got a million, I'll give you 5. You can have 5 multiple choice questions on this pop quiz. You're welcome. Why 5? Why not? It's an odd number, but also some of us are really, really, really great at ideas, and we actually do need to contain them for the purposes of making this decision in this moment so that it is impactful. Play with 5. One of them is actually going to jump out at you, I promise, especially after we've had this little conversation. But the next question I'm going to ask you is, if I guaranteed you success, which one would you choose? That might not be the most obvious one. It might not be the one with the most pros as opposed to cons. It might feel like the biggest risk. It might feel like the thing that they're all going to laugh at you for choosing. Okay, cool. I know you've heard me ask that one a lot. But it's what we've just done is actually climb the energetic ladder, full transparency. So when you accept what you want, who you want to be, truly, knowing it's only as real as it is right now, you get to change your mind or do something completely different in 5 minutes once we've made this decision. That is how you can start to kind of build this framework. And you might have thought, wait, BZ, did you just give me permission to waffle? No. What I am giving you is permission to change your mind. That is different than umming and ahhing. What I'm saying is give yourself a multiple choice quiz. Ask yourself, if I guaranteed success, which answer pops out to me? And then make a decision based on your true intention, what it is you are absolutely trying to create, the results you seek, the long-term impact, however you want to frame it. That is a simple, very simple 3-part way of making decisions, and just play with it. Play with being a decisive decision maker today. For the rest of this day, you just fucking make calls. You can think about it tomorrow if those were strong and wrong. If it was fun for you, if it felt exhilarating, if you made some mistakes, sure. We're going to learn a lot from this experiment. I promise. This is you. We've all grown and changed and evolved so much in the last week, let alone weeks and months. I mean, whenever you're tuning into this right now, it is the end of July in 2024. And if you're any kind of a pop culture enthusiast, you will have been aware of the last few things that happened in these last few weeks. It's bonkers. It's just absolutely banana bonkers. Things that people have said would never, ever, ever fucking happen, 100% happened in the last 7 days. You now is a different version of you, and you get to choose to make decisions, and you get to choose to embrace that decision based on everything you know now in this moment, not who you were beholden to before. This isn't about rushing. This is about moving at the pace of you. And this is about creating results that you want. I think you have to make decisions for that. And you, in making these decisions, you're actually building trust with yourself. And that's where the second guessing and the waffling comes from. It's mistrust. There's only one way to build trust, and that's one teeny tiny little grain of sand at a time until you fill the entire dang jar. And by taking baby steps, by making little decisions all day and reflecting back on that and thinking, you know what, today was actually pretty cool. I did some pretty cool stuff. I made some decisions. I didn't worry about it. That's how you're going to build trust. And that's actually going to demonstrate to you how to make more impactful decisions on a timeline that feels like this is going to deliver me my desires sooner than later. So yeah, that was a quick one. I'd love to hear about how this has impacted you, what your decision-making process is. If you're going to try out this 3-step decision-making process, first and foremost, getting very clear on what it is that you want, why we're even engaging in this decision-making process. What is your intention? And if you struggle with that, where do I want to be in 6, 12, 24 months? What's the big picture here, right? What are my multiple choice options? There's never an either or. There's always at least 3. Just play with it, pretend. Imagine if there was a third option, what could it be? And then ask yourself, what am I most excited about? If I guaranteed success, what would be the obvious answer? Okay, I actually have a call right now, so I got to go. Thank you so much for being here. You know where to find me, NicoleBZ.com. I'm just going to send everybody to the loop moving forward. Full disclosure, I've gone BZ bot online. I'm using AI very purposefully in terms of creating content. If you know me, social media is not my jam. I don't actually even spend any time really on social media. I recognize that lots of people do. So BZBot is available for your social media engagement pleasure. And if you want to know what's going on with me, jump into the loop. It is my weekly musings. I share much more personal stuff about what's going on with me, the things that I'm currently looping on, and the things that are keeping me entertained. So a la Tim Ferriss's 5-Bullet Friday. It's very much inspired me. He continually inspires me. And I share even some of his favorite things. So anywho, I digress. That means it's time for me to stop talking. Thank you for being here.